but we can't all be like Richard Branson. Now, going back to restaurants and that sort of thing, it's a very fickle and business. Like most physical businesses, they're enormously expensive to set up, and the difference between success and failure can be really subtle and very, very fickle. A good friend of mine had a successful Turkish restaurant in a nearby town. He'd built it up from scratch and was doing very well. I can't remember how many it seated, maybe 30 or 40, but it was always full on the right nights, and he had good lunchtime trade, doing very well. But then he decided, right, I'm on a roll here. I want to set up a new restaurant in the same area, only about 300 or 400 yards away from where he was. This one would also do Turkish food, but it would be a bit different. He said it's going to make it a bit more classy. It's going to be more like a clubby atmosphere. Very nice decor on, nice paintings on the wall, and all that sort of thing. And he basically spent, around I think £200,000 to £250,000 converting the building, and he built up really plush inside, nice tables, white tablecloths, and all that sort of thing. And it was great food, great wine, great food, nice atmosphere. But unfortunately, the paying public didn't agree, and the restaurant eventually failed. I think it was only open a couple of years. For some reason, I just don't know why it didn't succeed. It was really strange. The other one was working, this one didn't. I don't know what it was. But then, what happened then is a new company came in, also in the Turkish food market. These Turkish kebabs on the grills and that sort of thing. I think it's called okbasi is the right name for it. And they came in and gutted it. They didn't keep his layout. They gutted it and kind of opened it up a bit more, maybe more open plan. Instead of having these white tablecloths and tables, they had long wooden tables where big families could go in and all eat together. It was much more informal, but it was the same food, similar prices even. The wine wasn't even as good, and yet this place just took off. I just don't understand it. It just literally, from the moment it opened, it just took off, and it's been busy ever since and still going now. So how do you, I just don't know how you it's very difficult. He was in the restaurant business, yet couldn't make it. Another guy comes in, goes bang, 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 and opens up same sort of food, and it's a roaring success. So it's very difficult. These physical businesses are very difficult to make it, and it can cost you a lot of money finding out what works and what doesn't. So, I've seen other restaurants in the high street come and go since then, and I know each time that a restaurant closes, it's cost the owners hundreds and thousands of pounds, which is all money gone down the drain. And these are Frankie and Benny's, for instance. They're another one that came and went. They only lasted a year or two. They spent a fortune gutting this place and building this up. And lots of chains are in problems at the moment, Pt2 and these sort of things. So it's a very difficult business. My tip to anyone who wants to start a business, like if you come into some money and say, right, I'm going to start a business, is do something from home, do something online. Don't immediately jump into a physical business unless you've got unlimited money or something. Don't open up a shop, and because from day one you'll be under the cosh. You would have spent tens of thousands of pounds, setting it up, maybe hundreds of thousands of pounds, and then you've got to make thousands of pounds every week just to cover the rent, the rates, the taxes, the staff, and all the other paraphernalia that goes with running a shop. And that's why I see so many shops, even large chains, Tiger and that sort of thing, just go. They just disappeared all of a sudden. Now in my book, Yes, Money Can Buy You Happiness, there's a section on the celebrities who lost it all. Now, unbelievable, there are countless stories of sports and media celebrities who've quickly made and lost fortunes through mismanagement of their money, poor advice, and whatever, not paying their taxes. Now, I've personally assisted former pop stars when I was in financial services and working with a bank. Former pop stars I used to see performing on Top of the Pops. A few years ago, you were on Top of the Pops. I used to watch you, and then I'd go and see them when they'd lost all their money. Perhaps their records had dried up and the success had dried up, or they had a row with the band members or whatever it was. And their situation was so dire that they could no longer obtain any credit. They couldn't get a mortgage due to their poor credit history and being behind with their current mortgage or being repossessed. And I'd go in and see what we could do to perhaps get them out of problems, get them another mortgage. A lot of them had lost their families, their marriages had broken up and everything. And it was sad to meet once wealthy and famous people and seeing them end up broke. I didn't take any pride in it. I didn't take any joy in it, rather. It was just very, very sad to see, and we did what we could to help them. But it was amazing, and it wasn't that long ago that they were, flying high, if you like. Now then there were the megastars that I mentioned in the book. Michael Jackson sold 700 million records and reputedly signed a $1 billion contract, and yet he was in debt when he died. I don't think he was completely broke, but he had a lot of money problems when he died, and he had lots of different problems, didn't he? But other stars like Marvin Gaye, rapper 50 Cent, I think he's down to his last 50 cents, I think. But Tony Braxton, MC Hammer, have all been declared bankrupt despite earning millions in their career. Look at Mike Tyson. He's earned hundreds of millions in his career, and now he's on, I think, TV programs like Celebrity Squares to try and earn a few bucks. MC Hammer, for instance, he was that guy, don't touch this, jumping around in baggy trousers. I mean, he received $33 million from one album alone, but he blew the lot, on cars, big $12 million houses, and perhaps not paying his taxes, I don't know. But there are others in my book that I mentioned, some of whom will surprise you, like even presidents of the United States. And I'm not talking about Trump, who've either been bankrupt or had money problems. I also cover what I would call the common themes that I've seen running through the lives of those who've made and lost millions. Now these include poor investments, making bad investment decisions, investing in things that just didn't work out and you've sunk all your money into it and it's all gone. Bad management. This is quite a common theme where they appoint a manager to look after their business and it all goes bandy. Manager runs off with the business, with the money. This happened. Doris Day recently died, didn't she? You heard of Doris Day, the Hollywood star, who was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood in the, I think, 40s and 50s. And she was like everywhere, wasn't she? She made loads of films, made millions, and yet she was swindled out of all her money by a husband manager who just took all her money, and she had to start again. And she reinvented herself on TV shows, the Doris Day TV show. But that's just one example. Neil Sedaka also had lost all his money. There are lots of people who've lost their money through bad management and that sort of thing. Overspending is another one. Just thinking that the money will never end. And I heard an interview with Will Smith who said that when he first got TV contracts and that's when he took all his family out to the shops and the malls and everyone had trainers and loads of them. He just spent money like crazy. He said, but then you realise, and this is the next point, not taking care of your taxes, then you realise that somewhere down the line you've got to pay tax on that money. He said, you might earn $1 million, but that $1 million is not all yours. You've got to pay roughly half of it to Uncle Sam, the tax man. So, and a lot of stars forget this, and then they find out later on, the manager says, well, you've got to pay this tax bill. What tax bill? It's unbelievable how many pop stars do this. So those are the four things. Another theme is that a lot of them come from poorer backgrounds, right? So perhaps they couldn't cope with large amounts of money coming in at once, and maybe they had the wrong, I'd say, lower money consciousness. This is the type of money consciousness which I cover in the book, and it's about how you feel about money, how comfortable you are with money. If you think, for instance, that money is the root of all evil, then all rich people are bad, and this will obviously have a negative effect on your mind when you get some money in, and you think, well, because how can you want to be like somebody that you think is evil or bad? So I've seen this time and time again when people have made money but seem to want to push it away and blow it and spend it and as fast as they can, and almost like they want to be back to being broke, where they feel more comfortable not having money than they do with money. You see this in gamblers as well. So I mean, take a look at some of the lottery winners, for instance. Now, it's not true that all lottery winners lose their money. It's not true. A lot of them keep their head screwed on, they keep their feet firmly on the ground, they take investment advice, and they do okay. I like to hear the lottery winners who say, yeah, I'm going to just buy a slightly bigger house, I'm going to play a bit of golf, and that they're the ones who are going to keep the money. And I think the ones who are probably more likely to keep the money is the ones that don't go on TV and talk about it. But some of the lottery winners are the famous ones where they've won millions and millions, tens of millions, and yet they've managed to blow it all on houses, cars, boats, lavish holidays. But I'd say the biggest one is probably investing in stupid ventures that that people ask them to go into. Like, would you invest in this? Would you invest in that? Particularly family members, to be honest. And they sink their cash into it. They've got no clue about business or the type of business they're investing in, and it's unbelievable how quickly they can lose that. So I go through advice on watching your back, protecting your assets in the book. I also talked about the difference between the way the wealthy and the rich manage their money compared with the way the average person does. You know, they make it their business to manage their money. They make it their business to know what's coming in and what's going out. It's almost like a full-time job for them. And they tend not to just leave it to an accountant or a lawyer, you know, because if you haven't got a handle on it yourself, you're more likely to lose it. So anyway, check out the book. You know, it's on Amazon. Have a look at that, and good luck. If you have come into some money, just be careful. Get some advice and do a bit of thinking before you put it into something crazy. So that's all for now. I hope this has been interesting for you. This has been Charles Kelly, bringing you money tips to help you earn, save, invest, accumulate, and ultimately enjoy more money.